All right. Hello. Hey, it's Kyle
And Troy.
and Troy, and we are here with
Go
two of
ahead.
my teammates. Very privileged and honored to have Connor and Susie Fee, who are adaptive athletes. I play sled hockey with them, wheelchair lacrosse, but they are two incredible individuals. And what I'd first like to ask, and we always start ladies first, Connor, nothing against you, but Um,
I
Susie,
get it.
especially since I've known Susie longer, but she was always talking about you. If you guys don't mind, tell us or talk about quickly your
What do
disability.
you want them to talk about, Kyle?
I'm getting
Just
there.
get it out,
I
man.
don't know.
Come
I'm just
on.
trying to get there quickly, and I
You
can't.
want me to do
Yeah,
this?
on
No,
you, I gotta
you're
tell you.
go ahead. Take over.
You guys tell us about your disability. What makes you disabled? I know.
So
Tell everybody else.
I've done many interviews. We both have spina bifida, which is both from birth. We had it's basically we were born with an open spine. And there's different levels of it. So Connor, I don't know if you know what your level,
So I'm an L3, L4.
I believe I'm around the same L4,
So it's
L5.
very, very low on the spine. And to kind of go off of what Susie said, it's an opening in your spine when you're born because the spinal column refuses to fuse. Nobody knows why, but it somehow refuses to fuse while a baby is still in utero. So it happens again, like she said, from birth.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Some aren't, some other cases, they've found after birth, but that's very uncommon. Usually it's at birth or while um
They'll sometimes go to the doctor and they'll get like either an MRI
right.
or they'll get a CAT scan.
So it'll be diagnosed before
Yeah,
the baby is born.
and that's after.
Ah,
And
yeah.
that's spina bifida occulta, which
Yep.
just means hidden in Latin. And a lot of the times, it like Susie said, it'll go undiagnosed until you're 12 or 13, and you'll just go for an MRI, and all of a sudden, doctor will just say, "Oh, you have spina bifida," and it could just be a little mole, like on like somewhere near the spine, and then all of a sudden you're diagnosed with spina bifida. But a lot of the times it's directly from birth. And nowadays, a lot of people know ahead of time. Technology has advanced so much
Mm-hmm.
that you know ahead of time.
Connor, I don't want to interrupt, but since we're going to have some other folks that are adaptive athletes watching this, they'll
Yeah.
have spina bifida. But for those that happen to be watching that don't have a disability, how does your spina bifida affect your daily life? I
So,
obviously, because I compete with you, but what are your
so,
limitations?
so a lot of times, people with my form of spina bifida and with Susie's, you'll have to use braces, like leg braces, orthotic leg braces. Most of the time, you'll have crutches, but
Or a walker.
or a walker.
Yep.
But as I got older, I found that using a wheelchair made me a lot more independent. I can probably say
Yeah.
the same thing for
Mm-hmm.
Sue's. What's different about mine, and we joke about it all the time. A lot of my friends, including Susie, have they have what's called a shunt.
Mhm.
And what a shunt is, it's a tube in your head that it's inserted sometimes weeks, sometimes months
Mm-hmm.
after birth, and it gets
Regulates the
fluid. It
fluid.
gets fluid out of your brain because fluid on the brain, it's a
Bad,
not the
It's a
best.
part of
Yeah,
spina
bad,
bifida.
yeah.
yeah, it's a part of spina bifida, but a lot of people, including Susie, and one of my best friends from back home, they only have one shunt. I was lucky, unlucky. Depends on how you look at
However
it.
you want to look at it.
I had two inserted when I was 3 days old, and one since I was 6 months old.
Well,
So
you know, as a physician assistant, my brain goes to, of course, it would make sense, wouldn't it? I would think it would make more sense as opposed to putting a shunt in your brain since you've got a hole in your spine down low. Why not just put a spigot in and just drain everything out that way, right?
yeah, yep, yep. So,
You guys have known me too long. You know my sense of humor.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I've
So that,
also seen, Connor, I know I've seen your ability to walk because you're the one usually loading up the truck with all your gear after our practices. So
yep.
you still have quite a bit of locomotion.
Yeah, I occasionally use the crutches, but again, the wheelchair just kind of gives me a little bit more independence. Again, like you said, I'm able to drive a little bit more, and um, so yeah, I don't want to say that I'm lazy, but I like to use the wheelchair a little bit more.
I'll admit that I'm lazy because I will. So, but now, like I said, when I first started playing sled hockey, which was right about 3 years ago, and got to
Mhm.
meet Susie, she was always talking about you. And I thought,
No.
yeah, I mean, just not practice to talk to me about you. So I don't know. But
Mhm.
but the story of how you two met and got together,
Mhm.
share that. I think that's just fascinating to me.
She could
So
tell it.
I tell the shorter
She could tell the
version.
shorter the
Yeah,
So we
Connor and I
met.
are like brothers from another mother. Neither one of us know how to shut up. So, Susie, go ahead.
Yes, you're basically correct. So we met. We've both been playing sled hockey since pretty young. He started when he was what, 10? 10.
Yep, 10.
I started when I was about 8 through different programs. So he's originally from New Jersey. We didn't mention that, but he's originally from New Jersey and played out east pretty much his whole life through different teams. And I have always been with the Sled Wings. Never another program, better than the Sled Wings, and that's the team I've always been with. Well, when I was in high school, I believe it was my senior year, Kaz, he's now the junior coach. He nominated me and 3 or 4 other players to go and play at this national camp, which they still have to this day. And
Pretty elite.
actually, I think it was before that we met.
Yeah,
it was.
We met in
Voorhees.
We met in Voorhees, New Jersey, at kind of like a
they called it the Jamboree.
Yeah, but it's like a hone your skills kind of a thing. And then the camp that we went to, it's up in Rochester, New York. It's like a stay away camp, so it's kind of like a
long.
So it's kind of like a build your skills, but also at the same time like build your independence kind of a thing. You're in a dorm for a week.
Yeah, it was a week long.
The national level camps that you were talking about, Susie?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So, okay. I was thinking that was in New Jersey and you went to see her practice, but you were at this.
No.
So that's a different, that's
how we started. That's how we started dating.
Oh,
So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, so I jumped ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
you did. So how we met was through that camp when we were just finishing high school. We're both the same age, but he graduated a year after me.
Yep.
So anyway, we met at Voorhees and then both said, hey, we're going to be going to this same camp in Rochester a couple months later. So we spent a week they had like 2 or 3 ice time, two ice times a day, I think.
It's like you have like practices kind of where you like hone your skills
and then games.
And then there's games at night. And then like in between there's like
camaraderie.
There's like camaraderie things where you can go out to lunch with your teammates. Just building the sled hockey community essentially.
This basically for high school level sled hockey players or all levels?
Was there any older?
I believe at that point it was just
like
high school
around that age.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is that there may be some folks watching this that are sled hockey players that don't realize what is out there.
Yeah.
This is the first time I am hearing about basically a high school level sled hockey camp. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yep. So the national team.
Yeah.
they're older, so they would help coach
Yep.
and help us learn new skills and things like that. But for the camp itself, it was
Right.
It was
high school
about
age
high school players. Yeah.
players. So we met at that camp and then kept in touch, exchanged numbers, and then
Friends on and off for,
yeah,
I mean, we
on and
would
off
keep in
for
touch.
a while.
We would keep in touch like on Facebook and things like that. And
He went
then,
off to college and I did not.
yeah,
But you guys were never really in tournaments together either. Like,
No,
no, we had
No.
one
you
chance.
never came
Well,
here and you never went out east.
no.
Okay.
So we were in different leagues, and
Right.
then fast forward 7 years later, hadn't really heard much from him, and he
You're just
called
playing hard to
me
get, Susie, I'm sure.
pretty much.
Yeah.
He, we had, like he said, talked on and off through Facebook. And then out of the blue in 2016,
16, yep.
he called me after nationals. Nationals that year were in California. And we had won our division. I don't remember what division we were in that year, but we won. And he saw it on Facebook that I posted, hey, we won at nationals. So he called me and I was like, I thought that was a butt dial. And sure enough, it wasn't. He left me a voicemail and said, hey, just calling to congratulate you. And I still have the voicemail.
Yep.
I won't play it because he'll get all embarrassed.
Yeah,
but
she still has the voicemail.
So
Apparently a phone
Wait.
call. Like,
8 years later, you still
Yeah.
have his voicemail. You're
Yep.
kidding.
Well done.
Appar-
Yes, that's
apparently a
Oh,
voicemail
cool.
changes a lot of things.
So
Apparently.
he had no
Yeah.
clue.
Nope.
But a month after he called me, I texted him and said, hey, I don't know if you knew this, but I like you. So then he's like, well,
Booze.
so that was May
Yeah.
of that year.
Yep.
And then he's like, well, aren't you coming? I was competing with the women's team at that time too.
Yep.
And he's like, well, don't you come to
Susie,
tryout?
the women's team at what level?
The national
level.
Because
team.
this was
Yeah.
before they had a women's Paralympic sled hockey team. But that's what I was telling Troy, that you were elite enough to be on the national women's sled hockey team.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, it's like,
So
wow.
so he said, well, you're going to be coming out to Voorhees, which is only about an hour and a half from his house.
Yeah.
So he said, I'll come and watch you do your ice time and then take you on a date.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, cool.
Mhm.
So then that weekend he asked me to be his girlfriend, and now we're married.
The rest is history, as they say.
See, that's the
Very
part of the
nice.
story that because I remember you saying that you were on the national women's team and that he came.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Yep.
Now I also got to, with Connor being from Jersey, Susie left the Sled Wings for a year and moved to Jersey after they were married and lived with Connor. And then she abducted him and brought him back to
Yep.
Grand
Technically, I didn't
but-
leave you guys.
but-
I still played.
You know what though? This program has honestly been like one of the best ones I've been a part of. I've been playing sled hockey. I'll just tell you a little bit about my story. I started in 2003, so I've been playing now off and on for 21 years now, and
I've been playing for 25.
it's honestly been one of the best organized organizations that I've been a part of. So I'm, she didn't really kidnap me. I was kind of like, oh no, there's a plane leaving, don't go.
Well, she had told you about me and you wanted to come.
Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's,
Yep.
But
Sure, we'll put it that
We'll
way.
go with that.
with you starting at 8, weren't you one of the founding members of the Sled Wings in Grand Rapids?
Yes, I was.
Okay,
Yep.
that's wow. I knew that they'd been around for a while, but I didn't realize
Yep.
that they'd been around for like 12 years.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So.
You're making me feel old.
No. Since you started at 8 and they've been around 12 years, that makes you 20.
25 years.
25. Yeah, 25
No,
years.
no, that's why I said 12 years.
Crazy.
But see, that just is so amazing to me. Now I'm going to start with Connor because Susie, I know your history As
Uh-oh.
saw the list. But Connor, besides sled hockey, what other sports have you competed in? What other activities?
So you it's great that you say that because I honestly I've tried a couple of different sports in New Jersey over the last couple of years. I did try adaptive swimming at one point, but I stopped that just because of I had to have surgery.
Right.
I did try wheelchair track and field at one point. Again, I think I needed to have surgery. Um, but this is living out here now in Michigan, the adaptive programs that we have, I could say we because
Mary Freebed.
that Mary Freebed, shout out to Mary Freebed.
Yeah.
They have such awesome programs that whether it's a small little clinic or a team that I've been a part of, I've tried adaptive water skiing, which
You hated it first.
which I did hate at first. I've tried, what else have I tried? As far as sports goes, I have played for the Sled Wings, but then I also just, as of recently, started playing wheelchair lacrosse.
Who
So
recruited you to play lacrosse?
that would have been you.
Someone named
Yes.
Kyle. I don't know who he
That
is.
would have been you,
And I
Kyle.
recruited Susie too, because you can't have one without the other.
But again, it's a lot more. There's a lot more here. I mean, don't get me wrong. The sled hockey programs that I was a part of when I was playing in the Northeast were great programs, but just having the more programming here, the more sports to keep me active, keep me more active, has definitely been a bigger help.
Just another one. Hand cycling was something that you had never tried.
Yep, hand cycling.
He now owns his own hand cycle.
Yep, I know. Yep, I now own my own hand cycling. So,
which means next summer we're going to be hand cycling together, right?
Hand
cycling team. Yep.
Yes, please.
So
now in the beginning, we didn't really introduce where you guys are, what your I mean, we know the team, right?
And I apologize.
But we never really got. Tell us what you're talking about, how great the organization is. Give them a little shout out and tell us where you're at, that type of thing.
So we play on the Grand Rapids Sled Wings, and this is my second season on the team full time, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And
let me tell them.
Yeah, you can tell them a little bit more.
So I've been with them for 25 years. We started in 2000, 2001, something like that. Actually, it was the Grand Rapids Griffins Youth Foundation that went to Mary Freebed and said, hey, we want to start they had already done, programs for, I guess, non-disabled, for lack of a better word, children. And they said, hey, we want to start something for disabled athletes. They went to Mary Freebed and said, hey, do you have any, athletes that you think would want to try sled hockey?
Susie, let me interrupt for a second. Shout out to Grand Rapids Griffins Youth Foundation also. But that aren't from the Grand Rapids or Michigan area. The Grand Rapids Griffins are the minor league hockey team that's been around in Grand Rapids for quite some time. And they're very big into the area of supporting all sports. And I've even seen with the youth foundation, the hockey teams that play after us. That was my first experience with blind hockey. They had one of their players was blind, so they had the puck. It was pinging out there, and it absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it before. Go figure. But sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good. So, like I said, that started in 2000, 2001. And it was just a small group of us. It kind of started as a clinic, I would say, like most of the Mary Freebed sports start. And then they got enough that were interested in starting a team. And I think we just practiced and got used to, skating around for the first 2 or 3 years. And then we started traveling.
So, we are starting to run low on time, but
Okay.
since we got Connor's history, quick tell your history of the sports you've done and the activities you've done.
I saw the list.
I've got a long way
We
to
don't,
go,
we don't have that much time to go through every one.
but just
So
briefly
give
say
us, give us a
'cause
nutshell.
we'll have to
That's
do another one,
amazing.
but don't just what have you done to let folks know what's out there for disabled
I thought
athletes?
Kyle had done a lot
Nope.
until I read
No
your
way, yeah.
list.
So what
It's
activity?
a lot.
Yeah.
So, kind of what got me started was Mary Free Bed. They partner with another place called Kentwood Parks and Recreation, and that is the program that does the water skiing. That's one of my favorites. Is I've done water skiing. What are some others?
Besides
that?
lacrosse, because I know you've done some other team sports too. I mean, because I know you played in
Tennis.
high school tennis.
Tennis.
Yeah.
I was on my high school tennis team for 2 years. And so, well, and I started tennis around the same time that I started hockey. I started it more so just kind of recreationally. And then as I got through high school, my mom's like, oh, you should try out for, see if you would want to play with the team. So I did, went to the coach and said, hey, before tryouts, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Do you think I'd be okay to try out for the team? And he said, of course. So I was on my high school tennis team.
And Susan, I hate to interrupt, but you were in a wheelchair playing
Mhm.
against able-bodieds. I don't think a lot of
Yep.
people realize just how awesome that is.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yep. And the only thing that was different was I got 2 bounces instead of 1, but
Yeah.
everything else was the same.
So tennis
So-
through high school, then what other sports?
Mainly the hockey and tennis. I've tried many different clinics through Mary Free Bed and Kentwood. They actually have a wheelchair sports camp that I had done since from like 7 years old till 18. So dodgeball, softball, swimming. I love to swim in the summer. My grandma actually has a pool. I'm trying to think of some other sports. That's where I got involved in tennis, was the wheelchair sports camp.
Well, now, in conversations I've had with you, plus your list, you've done kayaking, right?
Yes, I love
Yep.
to kayak.
Anything
Yep.
else in the pool? Is kayaking and canoeing, do they do the same, or have you done both or just one?
Mainly I've done canoeing with my family, but mainly kayaking with Kentwood.
Yep.
So we are literally at a hard stop in about a minute. So I want to
Okay.
thank you guys for coming in.
Definitely.
But we talked beforehand about bringing you back, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'd love to have you back and go into more depth, because I think this is great information, exposing people to just things they may not have even known was available.
I've learned
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we
Well,
still have to talk about how you guys train too, but
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time, like Troy said, and
Absolutely.
appreciate your camaraderie on the team. It's amazing for me to be out on the ice with you guys. We'll talk to you soon, though, guys. Appreciate you.
yeah,
Sounds good.
absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited for another one. So
All right.
Thanks.
Hey, thank you guys so much. We lost you there for a second.
all right.
And we will talk soon.
All right.
Sounds good.
Sounds
Thanks for
good,
having us.
guys.
Appreciate it.
But actually said we had 10 more minutes, but that's okay.
There we are. There you guys are.
Hey, we're
All
not
right.
recording anymore, but